Ever since I became a minister's assistant almost 9 years ago, I have always been searching for Buddhist-related materials or stories to further my quest for continuing Buddhist education. If I come upon information that is awe-inspiring for me, I feel like it is my duty to share it with the Sangha, with hopes that the information will have the same benefit for all of you. A few years ago, I attended a funeral of my wife's relative, and as I was looking at the brochure, I came upon an award-winning speech given by Janice Yokoyama. And for those of you later on, you would know her as the late Janice Tahara, who was from the Oakland Young Buddhist Association. The speech was given 53 years ago in 1968 at the Western Young Buddhist League Conference in Los Angeles. As I finished her speech, I was truly amazed by her message. I promised myself that when an opportunity presented itself, I would share her message. And today is that opportunity. Minor changes were made to her words, but the true essence of Janice's message has not been altered. So it is my privilege to now present her speech entitled Inner Expression. Namo Amida Butsu. My voice that tells Amida's name is mine, but in truth, it is Amida calling me. It is not we who repeat the Nembutsu, but Amida's compassion, which encourages us to do so. Giving us his own name, he encourages us to awaken to faith and repeat Namo Amida Butsu. Through the name, Amida is constantly striving to awaken within us the religious spirit of human life. Look at the statue of the Buddha. His hands in his leaning position hold a very special significance. The Buddha stands there, compelling us to come and follow his teachings so that we too may attain enlightenment. He leans forward, always ready to help us. And all that he asks is that we place our faith in him. When the sincerity of Amida Buddha is transferred to our mind through the name, there and then it becomes faith. Faith is the cause, and the Nembutsu is the expression of our gratitude. Both are manifestations of Amida's compassion for all of us. Loneliness is always with us as we observe and live life. Humans enter the world alone, but become connected with other humans through ties of love and friendship. However, with the passing of human life, we are constantly reminded that life is impermanent and life's constant changes cause us to suffer. I did not awaken to this truth until my grandfather's death made me understand this teaching. My grandfather had a habit of shaking the grandchildren's hands as we left his ranch in Fresno. My sisters and I were his only grandchildren, and we only saw him during the school vacations. As we would depart, he was saddened to see us go. My grandfather was a very kind and quiet man. One day, he got very sick from cancer. I prayed every night, saying the Nembutsu, and hoping that if I truly believed in the Buddha, he would allow my grandfather to live longer. Unfortunately, my grandfather continued to weaken. I saw him lying in bed, so weak, unable to sit up. All I saw was my grandfather dying, and I could not do anything to help him. When we said goodbye for the last time, we shook hands, but this time he held on tightly and stared into my face. Grandfather knew that he was going to die. As death approached, grandfather continued to chant the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, and I could not understand why he kept saying it. I had chanted the Nembutsu every day and expected Amida to come to my grandfather's aid, but to no avail. I wanted to cry out, "Oji-chan, Amida has failed us." As I thought about how my grandfather faced his pending death, I was finally able to deal with my own sadness. I realized I was full of ignorance and selfish expectations. As I reflected upon the Dharma, I finally sensed the meaning of Namo Amida Butsu. Although I was lost in my own tears and emptiness, I somehow was able to realize Amida Buddha's compassion and wisdom, supporting grandfather during his times of suffering. As I discovered this moment of awareness, I could sense my grandfather's smiling face and his words to me, "You finally understand the meaning of Namo Amida Butsu." I closed my eyes, put my hands together in Gassho, and quietly said, "Thank you, Oji-chan, for showing me the way of Namo Amida Butsu." I realized during this awakening that the Nembutsu gives you courage and strength to meet life's difficulties head on. Buddhism teaches us that the past is the past as we live for today and look forward to tomorrow if we are lucky. The Nembutsu will always be with us to guide us throughout our lives. I know there is still much to learn and experience as I seek the deeper meaning of Amida's wisdom and compassion. I know the Nembutsu awakens within us our faith in Buddhism, and with that faith connects us with all living things as we seek a more meaningful life. As Shinran pointed out, mere repetition of the Nembutsu without faith is meaningless. No amount of reciting the Buddha's name will produce enlightenment. As promised in the Great Vow, faith is most essential. Honen Shonin said, "Because of the Great Vow, Amida accepts you just as you are, with all your imperfections and contradictions." The Creed says, "We rely upon Tathagata Amitabha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come. We believe the assurance of our rebirth through his salvation comes at the very moment we put our faith in him. As we call the name Namo Amida Butsu, we express our gratitude for his wisdom and compassion." Our spiritual faith is a form of expressed happiness that allows us to overcome life's sorrows. With humility, we realize our own limitations within life's impermanence and constant changes. With this realization, we now truly understand that I am not a person all by myself, but I become someone because of others. What little I accomplish is not due to myself alone. but due to others who have helped me and were there for me. With this awareness of Amida's wish for wisdom and compassion for all of us, there can be no greater appreciation and expression of joy as we say the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So Janice, thank you so very much for that very beautiful message. When Janice's grandfather passed away, I believe the moment was a sort of a coming of age for her. The loss of her grandfather may possibly have been the very first time she lost a family member so very dear to her. And with this passing, Janice finally understood the meaning of impermanence and how life can change in a moment's notice. But the biggest lesson Janice learned was how her grandfather accepted his fate and chanted Namo Amida Butsu to the very end. When Janice referred to her grandfather's faith or trust in Amida Buddha, she was referring to the core teaching of Shinjin in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Although Shinjin has been translated as faith or trust, there is no real English word that truly captures the in-depth nuance of this concept. As Bishop Harada has written, faith is the first step we take in discovering Shinjin, as in we have faith in others like a minister, teacher, parent, or grandparent to lead us in that direction of Shinjin. Buddhist faith is an inner quality within us that unfolds as we learn to trust our own deepest life experiences, and from those experiences, the feeling of Shinjin turns into realization, understanding, deep insight, and finally, deep appreciation of Buddha's wisdom and compassion. The Shinjin that Shinran taught is when we truly entrust in and give ourselves to Amida Buddha. We are awakening to the true heart and mind of Amida Buddha. We are assured without any doubt or hesitation that Amida Buddha's aspiration to free human beings from suffering is absolutely guaranteed. When our hearts and minds are truly united with Amida Buddha, we are in a state of non-retrogression, where an unpenetrating firewall exists where we won't return to this world of samsara, our world of suffering. And most importantly, Amida Buddha assures us that after our passing from this world, the next destination for us is Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Once we have arrived, we will become enlightened, where we will no longer suffer from our self-inflicted greed, anger, and ignorance. We will live in peace and harmony. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandab, namandab, namandab.